magazine, and I'm very fortunate to be here today with Frank Pocci and his daughter Marisa Pocci Carney, who's an attorney here in Las Vegas. And Frank is coming from Cleveland. Thank you both for taking the time to talk to La Voce today. And I know that you have a lot of things to do today, and since you're in here from Cleveland. And when are you leaving, by the way?
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning. So I know you have a lot of things that you want to do because this is Las Vegas. So let's just jump right in. And Frank, how about telling us your Italian roots?
Well, I'm from a town in Tuscany called Pistoia, which is about 80 miles outside of Florence, Italy. And I came here at the age of 4 with my mom and my sister. My dad had come to in 1956, and we were supposed to come shortly thereafter. But you may recall that's when the Soviet Union invaded Hungary, and Italy became a staging ground for Hungarians coming to the U.S. And so we were delayed until 1958.
I did not know that. I hadn't been born yet. Okay.
And from there, of course, we stayed in New Jersey for a few days with some relatives, and then we moved on to Cleveland, where my dad, of course, was waiting for us. And within 3-4 days, we were in grade school in an Italian.
No English.
No
New English.
Well, the nuns did speak some Italian, so that helped. And it was St. Rocco School, which is an Italian parish in Cleveland, and I remember it was kind of tough at first because, when you're 14 years old and they put you in the first grade, you can't even fit in the desk.
Okay.
But every week I would move up a grade, so I went through 7 grades in a few weeks, and then I did have to complete the next year the 8th grade, and I went on to high school after that. And the first couple of years were difficult, not being able to understand and really think in English, but that worked itself out. And that was a big day because I knew I could be part of this culture.
Sure. Now, how did you do in school in the beginning? The first few years.
The first few years I did very well. I got a lot of those little work cards. And the reason is when I went to high school in 9th grade, I took algebra, Well, in Italy, you study algebra at that time in the 6th grade.
And the good thing is numbers are numbers. It doesn't really matter what
language.
Right,
and so I was getting very good grades. And the funny part is that I got a subject superiority award in the English language because I was trying so hard to learn, even though I wouldn't be able to speak it very well, perhaps. But I'm sure. So
now, how about Marisa? How was she in those years?
She was always a great student. She always did quite well. She was always kind of
Is that true, Marisa?
Straight A type of person.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah, I was always a really good student. I was just going to quickly interject something, though, about his experience having come here at 14, 19, not speaking English. But I have seen his high school yearbook. Here, he was voted best conversationalist in his class.
Well, that's the Italian.
Oh, good. I was hoping somebody would say that. Great. So now, is your wife from the same part of Italy?
No, she's from the region of Abruzzi. Actually, she was born in Cleveland, Ohio, but her parents are both from the province of L'Aquila in Abruzzi.
Where my grandparents are from.
And we've been there quite a few times. She still has an aunt there and a number of cousins. The aunt is close to 90 years old. She looks like she's 70 at most. But
okay. What was her maiden name?
Her maiden name was Saturni.
Saturni. My mom's maiden name was Saturni. The aunt, and then my grandma's name is Capaldi.
Capaldi.
Yeah, Capaldi.
That name sounds familiar. For having been back to where my family's from, Torre de Nolfe in L'Aquila. That name sounds familiar, but is there a famous Capaldi? Yeah, there's a composer or something, right? Isn't there somebody?
There's a Vivaldi.
I don't know Capaldi.
Okay.
Well, my parents just expected, obviously they couldn't help us not knowing English very well. So they expected no problems in school, which we never had. And so
did they want you to teach them English?
I'm sorry.
Did they want you to speak English when you were home?
At home, we always spoke Italian because they came here in their 40s, and so
they weren't
a different ballgame.
Okay, got it.
But we did pretty well in school. I had no problems in high school. So eventually, I became assimilated to, I wanted to learn what
Sure.
the way of living was. That worked out okay. And then I went out to college, and then I went out to the military. And in college, I ended up with a 3.25 average or something like that, but which was okay. I wasn't a 4-pointer.
Sure, but yeah, still. And now, how about Marisa?
Marisa did very well in college.
I forgot. Where did you get your undergraduate degree?
John Carroll University.
Oh yeah, that's right. So and Martinez went to John Carroll.
That's right. And he and I also both went to law school at Cleveland Marshall.
At the same time?
At the same time.
Okay. And you knew each other at?
I don't think we knew each other at John Carroll.
Okay.
We did know each other in law school.
Okay. Now, how did you happen to have Marisa choose John Carroll?
Well, we took her to several schools, and I think we were kind of leaning towards a Jesuit school.
Why is that?
They had a good reputation.
And I think that
the liberal arts curriculum and
at the time I didn't mean to interrupt, but I don't think I knew at that time when we were looking at colleges, I wasn't one of these people who always knew I wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay, so you didn't think about Marquette?
No, I didn't look at Marquette.
Too cold?
Just never was really on the list, yeah, not for any reason.
One of the good things about Marquette, going to law school there, is you're automatically a member of the state bar if you graduate.
Right, yeah, that's the...
But who wants to be in the state bar, right? It's not like the Ohio State Bar, right?
Or the Nevada State Bar.
So what Jesuit schools did you look at, if any?
We looked at Loyola in Chicago.
We did, Loyola. We visited Notre Dame. I mean, that's not a Jesuit school, but we looked at Notre Dame.
Notre Dame and what was that other school? We go to St. Mary's.
Oh, we visited University of Dayton. University of Miami in Ohio.
What about Xavier?
I don't think we actually visited Xavier.
No.
Yeah.
We didn't.
But
Canisius?
No, didn't Canisius. Well, again, I mean.
And you didn't want to go west. Well, what about St. Louis?
No, didn't look at St. Louis. I'm trying to remember all the only ones that stick out in my mind are colleges we actually went to and visited.
Yeah.
And frankly, John Carroll and Loyola are the two visits that I remember the most. But
happy she chose John Carroll because it's
close.
It's far enough in a large city, but she chose. And if you're going to be in art history, I mean, Cleveland's a great place to be. There's just so much there.
And being Italian is also good for art history, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I studied it in Italy as well, which is, of course, a great place to do that. But
also, in Italy, she did study through Loyola University because they actually have a very nice little campus there and all that.
Oh, the first time, yeah, I did. That's right. Yeah, Loyola of Chicago.
So I also went to a Jesuit university. I went to a Jesuit university. It was my undergraduate degree at Santa Clara, up in California. So that's another thing we have in common. Abruzzi, Jesuit universities. I also have a law degree, but I didn't want to practice law. So anyway, so this is about you. So education is important. What did your father do for a living when he moved here?
My dad worked as a chef at the Sheraton Cleveland Hotel.
What did he do in Italy?
He worked in, he had an auto repair shop, and he also did building and things like that.
Fiat?
And
what did you have as a kid?
His own.
What did your family drive when you were growing up?
My dad had a scooter. My uncle always had cars. As a matter of fact, I remember in the summertime they would send us to what they call a colony by the sea for 6-7 weeks. It was a popular thing to do in Italy. And my uncle had a big car. I remember.
Like what? What was Alpha?
He drove back then. I remember 1956 Cadillac. This was in 1957.
He must have been doing well.
Yeah, he was doing well. He was.
He also had to be a good driver, right? To have a big car like that.
He would he would trade, buy, sell, and all kinds of products. And so he always had bigger cars. But that particular car, I remember, because it was very unusual.
Sure.
A Cadillac in Italy in 57. And I mean, like in Pistoia, I mean, if you're talking Rome, it's one thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So tell me, when you were growing up in Italy, what was the popular car? Alpha? Fiat?
No, Fiat.
Okay.
Pretty much Fiat, the small Fiats, the 500, the 600, and all that.
And are they from Milan? Is that where they're playing? Turin.
Turin.
Okay. What about Alfa Romeo?
they're all now everything is Fiat. You know, Alfa Romeo
Yeah.
is owned by Fiat.
Right.
It's all Fiat. You know.
Sure. Okay. Okay. And
I drove one of those little Fiat 500s as a rental car in
yeah.
Reno not too long ago.
how, did you like it?
It was cute. Yeah.
Fun?
Yeah, I did like it.
Well,
Yeah.
the new ones are nice.
Yeah, they are.
And how would you feel about driving it from Reno to here?
I don't drive from Reno to anywhere. I fly from here to Reno. And
If
then
you
I
had to
take
drive
car
that far.
you know, it probably would be fine, I suppose.
Okay.
But
Because you're not that big.
yeah, I
right.
guess so.
If
Yeah.
you were
Yeah.
6'1", like me, it might be for that length.
Yeah, that's yeah. I didn't really think of it that everyone thinks I sit too close to the wheel anyway, as it is. So I'm comfortable in a very. For me, it's more the distance of the drive that I
Sure.
wouldn't want to do. Although he and I have driven across the country together.
Uh-huh.
That was my longest car trip, and it was fun. But I'm not
Okay.
a huge.
Was that's when you came here?
When I moved
Yeah.
here? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about that last time, but just tell me the highlights again of that trip. Was it kind of like, I'm sad, but I'm happy?
Well, yeah, because there was a purpose behind it. I was moving here for the job of my now husband,
Yeah.
and so, but it just so happened the way that we came here with all of our belongings that we drove separately. So
Oh.
Dad was kind enough to drive me here in my car. In fact, I offered to switch off some of the driving, but he drove the entire way across the whole country.
And how many nights?
Five.
I think 5 nights, but we stopped in Dallas to visit my sister, so we made a little.
So you took the,
detour.
yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long way.
But we were
Yeah.
5 nights, 6 days. We got here.
Because I think, for example, the last night we stayed pretty close by, so that we'd have very little driving to do on the last day.
Okay,
you know.
so that kind of begs the question of, Frank, are you more like a stoic Roman or a emotional Italian?
I guess probably a little bit more of an emotional Italian.
Especially the older he gets, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you get older now. I feel the emotions more, and now with the grandson here and all that, you know, it's just difficult.
Well,
Sure.
we've all just turned into blubbering messes
Mm.
over Dante, my 8-month-old son. So.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've always been more of an emotional Italian than a stoic Roman, but not so much emotional in anger.
Mhm.
Although when I do
Passionate.
get really angry, then I really, I
Get
don't lose
angry.
it, but I'm really angry.
Okay.
But I get over things. easily.
Oh, so you don't keep
No,
pushing the
I
replay
don't.
button.
I don't keep,
Right.
I don't, you know.
Yeah. Okay. And how was your dad? Was he emotional, passionate?
No, he was more
stoic?
I would say.
Mhm.
My
I
dad
would
was
too.
more stoic. He never let anything, you know, he was always even killed. He got mad at me one time that I remember. He
Uh-huh.
yelled at me, and I felt so bad because I wasn't used to that. And I was helping him repair something because although he was a chef,
Yeah.
he did a lot of side jobs that had to do with construction, repairs. He
Okay.
could do anything.
Either it's just more money.
For the money,
Yeah.
because he needed to at that time, you know, he wasn't making a lot of money.
Sure,
When we grew
yeah.
up, you know, I got a part-time job in high school and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
But he
you know.
was also just such an engineer. I mean, he could kind of
Ah.
build anything.
He liked doing it.
Yeah.
He built an addition to her any drawings. I think it was
We have Rights for La Voce, Norma Valley, that talks about, we had the conversation kind of like this, you know, why are you interested in this, Norma? And she said, you know, the thing about Italians is, she said, I think Italians are somewhat unique in that they can visualize something in their brain and actually turn it into something real. What do you think about that?
Well, when it
Sounds
came
like
to
your
my
father.
dad, that was definitely it. He was like, I remember one time he took a little motor and pieces of something in wood. He made a wooden drill out of it, except he didn't have a trigger, he had a switch.
Ah.
And it worked beautifully. I said, how the hell?
Well, and you do that too. I mean, with cooking, he does that because, you know, he'll say, I think I'm going to make a stir fry or something out of all these different things. And we all just say, okay. And it always turns out great.
Huh.
Yeah.
What is the secret to that?
You know what the secret to that is?
Garlic.
Seeing something that you like, though.
Uh-huh.
That's what if I see something on TV or movie, for instance, you know, I learned to make puerco pibil.
What?
Puerco pibil is in this this movie with Johnny Depp.
I think it's Once Upon a Time in
Once
Mexico.
Upon a Time in Mexico.
Oh.
And it's so good that after he eats it, he has to go and shoot the cook to keep the balance of things, you know. And the funny part, the one line goes, he has a henchman. He says, "Well, excuse me, you want me to go kill the cook then?" He said, "No, my car's out back anyway, so I'll do it."
So,
based on that, he went online, found a recipe for this puerco pibil, which none of us knew what it was, cooked it, and we all love it. We've had it
It's
a few times
fantastic.
since then.
wow.
Very citrusy. Used like a lot
Not
of
Italian, but very good.
Uh-huh.
But I do
But is there
other things.
Italian influence in it?
No, not really. My claim, if I ever claim to fame to some Italian, particular Italian dish, would be a potato, or even more frequently, a zucchini frittata.
Oh.
I make a really, really good, just like they make in Italy, zucchini frittata.
Really?
Mom
Okay.
loves to entertain. She does a lot of brunches, among other things, and Dad always has to make the
Yeah,
frittata
now my
I see.
by
wife's
popular request.
my wife's specialty is an abruzzese dish, which is the wedding soup with the little tiny
Okay, sure.
meatballs,
My
which
grandmother
is really
used to
an
make this too.
abruzzese dish.
Isn't I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go back to something because you made me become aware of something. Because twice today, since we've been talking, you've been quoting something from movies.
Okay.
Okay, so one was the Johnny Depp movie, and the other one was from Tombstone
Tombstone.
in
Yeah.
Vino Veritas. So is that a thing that you do? Do you remember lines from movies?
I do only when the lines are sort of really off.
So when
little
it's
bit offbeat around there,
so you
you know.
like put that in a compartment of your brain.
Yeah,
That maybe
that's
I can
why-
use that one day.
That's why I like movies like Kill Bill and stuff like that.
Okay.
Which a lot of people don't. My wife thinks I'm crazy when I watch that, but you know,
Uh-huh.
I like these.
How about the Big Lebowski?
Oh my God,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a great movie. Or what's
You
the
got a
other
lot of
one?
lines from that one, right?
What's the one with another Tarantino movie with Jack
Oh.
Travolta?
Pulp
and,
Fiction?
Yeah, Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Okay.
Come on, that's at the
Okay.
top of my list.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's interesting. How about you, Marisa? Do you do that? Do you memorize lines from movies, or do they stick in your
I
brain?
have good recall, so I probably am decent at that as
Uh-huh.
well. But I think we go back to some of the same certain, just how it is. Like you have family movies that you all like. We love Ferris Bueller. And
Okay.
Cool Runnings.
Uh-huh.
We watch Ferris Bueller's the movie every
Yeah.
year at home when both kids are home.
So it's the first line that comes to your mind from Ferris Bueller.
Oh God, there are so many, but really, it's not a line. It's
It's a song.
when they're dancing, like when they do the parade, but the way that the people are dancing on
Yeah.
the
Do you guys do that in the
audience,
house?
We do that. Yeah, I think we do
Okay.
sometimes.
All
yeah.
right. I
Special
have a
occasions.
line that I use. So I teach school partially during the day to adults who are in prison or got out of prison or sentenced by the courts. And so my challenge is having people pay attention. So I oftentimes, not often, once a week at least, I find myself standing in front of the classroom and I'll say, Bueller, 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 until is aware that I'm there.
Yeah, and that was a great one, by the way.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
great.
I love that part too.
Yeah.
Something
So-
DOO economics.
So now back to, so we talked about education is important. Your dad was a hard worker. You have been a hard worker, and you're still, even though you're retired from work, you're still involved in Italian culture, Italian organizations,
Right.
veterans organizations.
Right, I'm involved in a variety, some veterans organization. The Italian American War Veterans are one of the organizations that I belong to. And you needn't be Italian to belong to it, but you do have to be a U.S. veteran. But we do help some Italian organizations, but also some children's organizations. So we try to raise money for
Sure.
those people. I also belong to the American Veterans, the Vietnam Veterans of America, to Veterans of Foreign Wars. One of the Italian clubs in Cleveland is called the Home Family Club that I belong to. Another one is the Southwest Italian American Club.
Okay.
So
Now, is that Southwest Italian American Club like our Italian American Club here? Is it a social
Well,
club?
It's a social club. Yes, it's a social club, but we don't have. They actually bought an old fire station that they are rehabbing into
Okay.
Make it an actual club home. You know?
Okay. So that's what you've been missing so
Right.
far.
Now, that I'm really involved with, we don't have a club home. We're just not big enough, got enough money. So every month, the last Friday of the month, we meet at different Italian restaurants throughout the city.
Okay.
Some east and some west, because some of the guys are east siders or west siders, you know.
Mm.
And then I represent the American veterans in a county organization called the Cuyahoga County Veteran Service Commission, where we help veterans, regardless of nationality, of course. And then I belong to the American also. That
Okay.
I go there fairly frequently with some friends. I have a few high school friends that belong to these
With you.
veterans that are also veterans. And we get together, and one of them lives here in Las Vegas, as a matter of fact. So when he's in Cleveland, you know, we get together. I just saw him yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Now, is he a member of the club here? The Italian American Club here?
No, but he is a member of veterans
Okay. But he's
organization.
Italian, right? Or no?
No, he's German.
Oh,
actually.
German. Okay.
And he belongs to a motorcycle club called the Combat Veterans of America.
I see. Okay.
And so he's
Okay. And so you're a member of the Italian American Club in Cleveland. We have to get Marisa involved in the Italian American Club here.
here.
Yeah. Have you been there? Have you seen it?
No, but my friend that I spoke about yesterday said, Frank, next time you're in town, a good friend of mine is a member of the Italian.
Well, now you have two friends, me.
Two friends. And he said, it's a great place. I said, I know, I've been reading about it.
Yeah.
I wish I want to go there. He says, yeah, it's Vegas. So,
Yeah.
so next time I'm here.
Next time you're here, let us know in advance, because even though I'm vice president on the board, if you don't have reservations, you can't get in.
Well, I will definitely keep that in mind.
So, but it's a fun place to go. And now I know we're way over time, so I want to give you the opportunity, both of you, to wrap it up, sum up your case, counselor, whatever you want to do.
Time for closing arguments.
Yes, exactly.
I would say this for myself. When I think back on all of my experiences, the hard times, the easy times, and all that, I have to be most thankful for the sacrifice that my parents in coming to the United States and giving us an opportunity. I go back to Italy every year. So I'm very familiar, and believe you me, it's a beautiful country. As a tourist, it's wonderful. But we don't realize how much we have here, how much we should appreciate what we have. And being able to also go back and appreciate what's there is a wonderful thing. But I couldn't be saying that today had it not been for my parents.
Right.
Making this incredible trek that at 40 years of age,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even think about doing.
Sure. That's a great point.
And they made a tremendous sacrifice, not throughout their life, not being able to fully understand or participate in the life here as we did, giving us the opportunity to have a great life, which we do. I mean, I'm very thankful. I've been very fortunate throughout my life and did well. And our children are doing well. So that's what I have to put my first task.
And your parents, just to ask a question I think everybody's thinking before Marisa goes, your parents came here for opportunity, right? Is that why they came here?
Yes.
From left? Okay. Well, that's, very, I can see your passionate Italian side coming out as opposed to the Roman Stoic. So that's excellent. That's fantastic.
Okay, so before I start crying, you better go to bed.
Well, that's a great closing note. I echo those sentiments. And actually, Dad and I have had this discussion between ourselves before about a couple of points he made. First off, we love Italy as much or more than anybody. We go there frequently, spend tons of time there and all that. And, well, I spent more time there before I was working so much, I should say. But we also really love being American, and we love the comforts and conveniences that really you do have here in the United States that you don't have anywhere else in the world. Even though Italy is beautiful and we love it a lot there too. But also my perspective on the other point that Dad made regarding the sacrifice that was made to come here by his parents and by him and by my other set of grandparents and by everyone who does that. I look back now and it's astonishing to me. And I spent time living in Italy, and I spoke Italian when I went there, and I was much more fluent by the time I came back after some different stints of living over there, and thought it was great. And even at that time, I wasn't there under the type of, I didn't have the type of pressure that someone would have moving to a country where your family is depending on you, and you're going there because where you're from is not as good as where you're going. I mean, I was in Italy, I was studying, but I was having a great time, and I was, young lady who had friends, you know what I mean? So speaking the language is one thing, but I think all the time about the sacrifice to come, as you said, at that age to a country where you're here to work and to support your family or have an even better life for your family, and the language barrier issue on top of it. I mean, it's just, you can do nothing but be extremely grateful for it, and wish that they were still around so that you could tell them while they were alive. But you wish you could, now that I'm out working and having a family and understand it even that much more, wish I could go back and even, thank them further.
Wow. Now, that's both fantastic. So, Frank, I'd like to ask you or both of you to say something, closing in Italian to our Italian viewers.
In Italian?
Yes.
Voglio ringraziare voi tutti per l'opportunità di esprimere i miei sentimenti e di questa intervista, che è stata una bella cosa e molto apprezzata da mia parte, anche da parte di mia figlia. E di nuovo grazie a tutti e buongiorno.
I'm going to sing something very quickly in Italian because I have to give a very brief background, and then we're wrapping this up. I mentioned my son, who's 8, almost 9 months old now, and we have been already speaking to him in Italian, and my mom got these great little Italian CDs for him to learn. So for days, especially while mom's been playing with him, I have this song running through my head from his little baby Italian CD, and it's about the bird, the cuckoo bird. And it's like, cuckoo, cuckoo, l'inverno non c'è più, è ritornato il maggio al canto del cuckoo. And that's like appropriate because we're coming up on springtime.
Okay, you have a very good voice, by the way.
Oh.
Did you sing in school?
I've always enjoyed singing.
Okay,
yeah,
great. Well, thank you, Frank and Marisa. This was great. I thought it. I think it could go viral. You never know.
It could go viral. All right.